everybody, and welcome to this video on the partial lunar eclipse, which is also a full moon in Capricorn, which takes place on the 16th of July 2019 at 10:38 in the evening, and that's based on London, UK time. Now, this is a full moon, and like any other full moon, this happens every month. And the moon reaches that point in its journey where it's completely round and illuminated, and it lets go of all of its energy and it showers us with its energy, in this case Capricorn energy. But because it's an eclipse, that process is interrupted, and rather than that energy just affecting us for a couple of days, it lasts for 6 months. So we've had an eclipse at the beginning of the month on the 2nd of July. That was a total solar eclipse, and that was on the North Node, pulling certain energy in for the next 6 months. And this is a partial lunar eclipse, so the moon isn't going to be totally hidden, it's only going to be partially darkened. But what this is, it's on the South Node, and it allows us to let go of certain things for the next 6 months. It allows us to go. So on the 2nd, it was in with Cancer energy, which is about nurturing ourselves, nurturing other people, taking care of our lives, being intuitive, being creative, imaginative, connecting with the higher realms, being sensitive, being in love and romantic and interested in feelings and other people's feelings. And here we've got a full moon in Capricorn on the South Node, which is about letting go of working in a certain way that doesn't serve us. So first of all, the sun that's illuminating this moon is at 24 degrees in Cancer. So the sun in Cancer at 24 degrees creates opportunities for you when you ask yourself, how can I take care of myself? And how can I become the best person I can possibly be? It's got the North Node next to it, 7 degrees away from it in Cancer. So 7 is mind and creativity and numerology. Thinking about how you can take care of yourself and other people is going to help you achieve the mission of this eclipse. And Venus is at 16 degrees, so that is 8 degrees away from the sun. So Venus is Aphrodite, the planet of love, beauty, and creativity. And there's a lot of power involved and given to Aphrodite, being 8 degrees away from your identity in Cancer at 16 degrees. Because again, it uses your mind and all of your creative kind of insights to say, how can I love myself more, and how can I be creative about my identity, and how can I create a personality or a persona, or how can I get rid of the masks that I've put on over the years and really get back to the true loving, fun, nurturing, caring, spiritual, sensitive person that I really am. Because I was speaking to someone recently, and it was so interesting, the phrase that he used. He said, that was beaten out of me as a child. And it's so interesting because we all appear on the planet, right? And then suddenly we're confronted with this planet full of rules and systems, and it's like, what have I got myself into? And as we grow up, we realize that our personality and our way of being places us in a certain situation in life. So if you're Indian, then you qualify, or you're immediately labeled as an Indian person. Nationalities matter. Suddenly you're no longer a human being, a spiritual being, you're suddenly a citizen of a country. First thing. Then you've got a mother and father who have certain rules and expectations of you. Then you discover your own sexuality and your own spiritual beliefs and your own political beliefs, and all of this stuff is added and piled onto you, creating this person which functions in society, in the world we live in, which really is a social construct. 2,000 years ago, with the Romans, different rules applied, different things were acceptable, different things were unacceptable, and the society we live in right now really is something that's temporary, and that in another 2,000 years, who knows what's going to be seen as good and bad and right and wrong. So the best that each one of us can do is obviously abide by the laws of the country we live in and not break any laws, but also get back to the truest version of ourselves that we possibly can, because regardless of the society we're in, we're here as spiritual beings trying to progress spiritually. And I believe in reincarnation. I believe that we come here several times and that we carry the achievements of our past lives with us, and that we evolve and that we grow and that we develop. Now, Mercury is also in conjunction to the Sun, but it's in a different sign. So the Sun is at 24 degrees, 6 degrees makes it 30. Each house in the chart has 30 degrees. And then Mercury is in the next house at 1 degree. So it's again 7 degrees away from the Sun. So we've got lots of sevens here. And 7 is about thinking, not just in a logical way, but thinking about yourself in an emotional way, in a way that's fiery, in a way that includes your life purpose, your passions, your desires, and who you are as an individual. You're not just an accountant, okay? You are a spiritual being that has come from a higher power. You're not a boxer. That's what you do for work, but you're other things as well. You're a son, you're a father, you're a brother. And that's what this really, the Sun, is giving me in terms of the energy. And Mercury here on the 16th of July is in retrograde. So Mercury is the communication planet. It goes retrograde 3 or 4 times every year. And when Mercury goes retrograde, it makes communication and transportation a little bit more difficult. So emails get sent to the wrong person. You know, sometimes when you're writing a bitchy text and you're like, oh my God, I really hate Karen. Remember what she said at that party? It was so inappropriate. And then instead of sending it to Stephanie, you send it to Karen. Things like that. And you get busted. Letters not appearing, computers breaking down, that kind of stuff is normal during a Mercury retrograde. But Mercury retrogrades so often, in my belief, because it gives us the opportunity to choose again, and to look at our lives again, and to look at ourselves again. And I'm not saying we constantly have to navel gaze and say, who am I? What am I doing here? You know, that's also not what life is about. It's a part of it though. If you understand yourself, and if you try and understand yourself and go on this journey of self-discovery, you're going to be much more, you're going to live a much richer life, because you know what you like, you know who you are, you know what circumstances you thrive in, you know where you don't thrive, and then you can kind of direct your life in a way that it works best. And that's what this navel gazing is all about. It's about maximizing your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. So the Sun, the North Node, Venus and Mercury all work together to light up this moon. So we've got thinking, communication, identity, love, what we're striving to become in a nurturing, loving way, as a nurturing person. Excuse me. That enlightens, literally lights up the moon. The moon is at 24 degrees in Capricorn, and the moon is the most, the part of the chart that's closest to our soul, the most sensitive part of who we are, the way we feel. And the moon at 24 degrees in Capricorn is concerned with How can I work to create opportunities for myself to create the greatest amount of stability for myself? So financial security, independence, and also how can I work to create light at the end of the tunnel, and how can I get myself in a position where I'm working towards something, where I have an opportunity to grow and to develop and to work in a physical, practical sense here on planet Earth, while being true to my actual nature and making my work an extension of who I am, how I take care of myself, how I would like to take care of other people, how I would like to treat myself, and how I would like to treat other people. So that moon is 3 degrees away from Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, death and rebirth, the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's at 21 degrees in Capricorn. So that's talking to you. 3 is communication. It's 3 in numerology is like Mercury in astrology. So Pluto is talking to you and saying, this is how you can change your working life so that it matches who you are on the inside. Saturn is at 16 degrees in Capricorn, so we've got another 7. So Saturn is urging you to think about how you can work to create a nice foundation for yourself that's going to enable you to work, to express yourself, to have the freedom to put your own ideas and your own thoughts and your own personality into the work that you're doing, while earning an income, creating financial security for yourself, and creating opportunities for you to grow in work and to become a public figure if you choose, or a leader, or a boss, or a manager, or, you know, a job that has potential. Not something that's like this dead-end situation where you're going to start in one role and you're going to stay in that role and you're not expected to grow. You're just expected to finish that job. You get a certain amount of money for it. That's it. And it's about finding work that involves a journey and that involves you progressing and developing into someone more skilled, more effective, more responsible, who has more expertise and skills and more specialisms, and who's able to manage other people and get paid more and have more freedom as a result of that. Okay? Now the South Node sits between Saturn and Pluto, and it's at 17 degrees in Capricorn, which is 8. 8 is power, and it's a powerful device that allows you to flush ways of working that no longer work for you. So during this eclipse, you're going to be hit with this major feeling of, I feel me. This is who I am. Masks are gone. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I am who I am. I love woodworking. And I currently work in sales, selling credit cards. I don't like selling credit cards. I want to be a carpenter. Okay, how do I do that? I take a course in carpentry on the side, on top of my existing job selling credit cards, so I still make an income. I train to be a carpenter. I start taking on a carpentry job. I start making money with that. And when I have enough money working with wood and making furniture, and if I'm good at it, then I can leave the credit card selling job behind and I can make wood full time. And it's going to come into your mind, and it's going to arise from your feelings. So it's a process of feeling and thinking. So water and air. And then applying that in a practical sense. So please, during this full moon, don't ignore the messages that you're getting when it comes to your career. Because it's going to say, please let go of this and make space for something else that's more aligned with you as a human being, as a personality. Because there are better jobs out there available for you. If you're someone who is living the dream job, who's already in the job that they absolutely adore, great. This is going to show you new opportunities within that job, new doorways that you can explore, new opportunities that you can have within that job. So again, if you're, let's say you're a life coach, it's going to show you that you feel very much interested in the subject of relationships and how to heal in relationships and how to maintain wonderful relationships. And instead of being a general life coach, you start to specialize in the area of relationships and you become this relationship coach, for example. Or you realize that there's an opportunity now to publish a book based on the language you've developed being a life coach for the last 3 years, and you've really found a way of working with people that's structured, and you want to reach more people. And the best way to do that is to put it into a pamphlet or a textbook, and that's an opportunity that now appears to you and you realize you have, and you start getting busy with that, and then you create the opportunity for yourself to publish that book and to broaden your business and make it even more fulfilling. Okay? If you're totally off track and if you're not in a job that you even know what the hell is going on, or if you have no idea of what you're supposed to be doing or what you're good at, you're going to start to get an inkling during this lunar eclipse. All you need to do is be emotionally and intellectually open and willing, and just listen to what comes in. And if you don't have any idea, you're working at KFC for instance, you're not ambitious, you just want to make money, you don't really care about anything. I met a lot of people that I've worked with who really didn't want work to mean anything. They didn't care. They were just like, it's a job. I don't really have any interests. Everyone has interests, okay? Usually when you're in a state of depression, the things that used to interest you just fall away and disappear. But fundamentally, every human being has something that they're interested in. So if you're sitting there just contemplating your work during the eclipse, maybe the thought comes in is, hey, do you know what? I really love flowers. And that can be enough. That can spark off a desire to let go of your existing job and to start training as a florist, and then to work with flowers and to surround yourself with beautiful flowers, and it may end up with you opening your own flower shop. Wouldn't that be so much better than working for a corporation or a company that really doesn't care about you, or the kind of, I mean, nothing against KFC, I don't know, how they run their business, but wouldn't it be better to do something that you care about, rather than just filling some position that anybody could do? Now, the moon creates other relationships with other things in the sky, of course, and you'll be able to see that in the chart next to me. So first of all, it creates a semi-square with the rising in Pisces at 4 degrees. Listening to your spiritual messages and your spiritual guidance, your insight, is going to give you the stability and the sense of, this is something I can work with. This is something that's going to happen. This is something that's going to develop. Then we also have Black Moon Lilith at 8 degrees in Pisces, and Black Moon Lilith is the part of the chart where the ego tries to sabotage you. And on this day, it's going to say, don't look within, don't listen to your feelings. It's all a load of rubbish, you're making this up. Just, there are no jobs that you enjoy. Everyone has to work at something that they hate. That's just the way life is. No one really enjoys their job. Don't get overly emotional. Don't be such a sap. Get real, grow up, and just realize that you have to have a job that you hate. That's what adults do. It's not what adults do. There are millions and millions and millions of people who get up every morning and who say, thank God I can do this job that I'm going to do today because I absolutely love it. And you can be one of those people, and it's not the norm for people to do jobs that they dislike. So that voice of the ego, it's important to be aware that it's going to be in the atmosphere saying, don't listen to your feelings, and for you to dismiss that and say, actually, I am going to listen to my feelings and I'm going to see what comes in. And then maybe the message comes in, I really love books. I've always loved books. And that then can lead to you being an author or a publisher or working in a bookstore or whatever. We have a sextile, which is 60 degrees, with Neptune at 18 degrees in Pisces. 18 degrees is 9, and 9 in numerology is spirituality and completion. And 9 in numerology is the same as Pisces in astrology. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's spirituality, and it's coming to a close. It's the last house of the chart. It's the 12th house, and it's starting to pull back the veil to go to the next, to the other side, to reach the higher realms. And it's also very self-sacrificing. It really cares about other people, and it cares about giving people what they need emotionally. So Neptune is the water planet. It rules Pisces. It's very happy there, and at 9 degrees it vibrates at a very, very spiritual level. So it blends its energy with this moon, and it means that the ego doesn't really have a chance, because you're going to get these huge waves of emotion coming in. You may feel a little bit overwhelmed. Get ready for that. Don't worry if you maybe even tear up a little bit and you're watching something on TV and you just burst into tears, because first of all, the full moon is a very emotional time anyway. A lot of people struggle to sleep during a full moon, and they struggle to sleep because our bodies are mainly made of water, and during a full moon the high tide is much higher than usual, and it brings up emotions. It brings up a lot of stuff that's usually beneath the surface. So that's why people can't rest and just, drift off, because all of this stuff is being brought up to their attention and is demanding to be dealt with. So with Neptune here, expect big waves of feelings to come in, and it's okay. It's okay to have feelings that you don't understand. I mentioned this the other day, but I watched this video, and it was about a woman who had all these parking tickets, and she was in a really bad way. And at the end of the whole story that she told, the judge said, do you know what, I'm going to waive this and you don't have to pay this. And he just let her off. And I mean, that's such a simple thing, but I was so moved. I was like, oh, human beings can be so good to each other, and I was so moved by it, I was crying. And I mean, you may think like, what's wrong with you? Are you having like some sort of a meltdown? But it was just me really appreciating that some people are really good, and there had been a thought that you can't trust anyone. People are going to take advantage of you and mock you, and if you don't perform the way they want you to, then they criticize you. And I'd been kind of in a negative space like that, and then I saw that video and it really caught me off guard, and it was just like, well, some people actually do care, and it was like, oh. So if you cry, if something really strikes you, then take note of that as well, because it's important. It's your truth. It's what really resonates with you. It also forms a semi-square, 45 degrees. It's away from Ceres at 0 degrees in Sagittarius. Ceres is a cornucopia of wealth and abundance and prosperity. So it's going to give you ideas in terms of moving forward in a different way, work-wise. And if you choose to go in those different ways, it's not going to give you options, and it's not going to suggest things which are going to leave you in the poorhouse. So let's go back to the credit card carpentry example again. You're selling credit cards at the moment, you don't enjoy it. You get the idea that, wow, I've always loved furniture and I've loved the way the wood feels, and I'd love to be able to make furniture of my own. The universe wouldn't give you that idea if it was going to land you in the poorhouse, and if you were going to train as a carpenter and then you were no good at it and you'd end up broke. It doesn't work like that. It will give you an idea that's going to support you financially, and that's going to give you access to this cornucopia of wealth and abundance and prosperity and joy and fulfillment in what you do work-wise. It then creates a square with Pallas Athena. That creates another square with Venus and the North Node and the Sun, and that creates a giant T-square, which is this big red triangle that you see in the chart, between the Moon and Pluto and Saturn in the South Node, Pallas Athena and the Sun and Venus and all of that. Pallas Athena is the female equivalent of Mars. She's the warrior goddess, and at 17 degrees in Libra, she's fighting powerfully to create some balance in your life, to get you away from working in a way that you feel obligated to work in, and to help you choose something that's more aligned with who you are. But what I want to see is, I don't want balance. I want the scales to tip. I want you to listen to what comes in emotionally, and I want you to embrace it and to say, this is what I feel. So initially, the great thing is that it brings the whole thing up for discussion. That's the most important bit, okay? So rather than like, I'm a credit card salesperson, that's the end of it, I will sell credit cards and that's how I live. This eclipse is going to, with Pallas Athena in Libra, going to bring this whole thing to the surface and say, I'm a credit card salesperson, but do I have to be? Is this set in stone? Is this my destiny? And that's where the balance comes in with your feelings. And your feelings are then going to provide you an answer, and they're going to say, well, actually, I love flowers as well, or I love making furniture, or I love publishing books. And that's what this T-square is, this friction, because that's what this eclipse is about. It creates friction within yourself so that you're forced to let go of work that doesn't serve you, and that you're uncomfortable to the point where you have to change. Because change is never easy. Change isn't like, oh, la-di-da, I'm just going to change my job, everything. Oh, there are feelings of emotional discomfort. There's a sense of being afraid that you're going to go broke. There's often a sense of being uprooted, and what if this isn't going to work, and I'm spending all this money to educate myself in something that no one in my family's ever done, and what if it doesn't work out? So it's not an easy thing, and change only happens when you're pushed, and that's what this T-square does. It pushes you to make these changes. The opposition I've mentioned with the Sun, so it's 180 degrees away from the Sun, but that's normal during a full moon, because it's always exactly across the Moon and the Sun are 180 degrees away from each other. That's why it's fully lit up, so that's normal. And that is it as far as aspect patterns I can see. Yep. So that's it. So it's a wonderful opportunity to flush a garbage job down the toilet, and to listen to your feelings and to take those seriously for the first time, or to choose again. If you did something a while ago and you went through this process and you're like, okay, I want to do this job, and you're doing it and you love it, but it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be, and you do enjoy it, but it's taking its toll, or you're burnt out, or you've lost the passion for it, then again, this eclipse gives you another chance to choose something even better. And sometimes that's what our journey is about. Sometimes it's about doing something that leads to something else. I have a master's in journalism, okay, so I worked in Amsterdam as this TV writing person, and when everything fell apart during my Saturn return, if you have a Saturn return, it's a really good time to have a personal reading, because Saturn return urges you to follow your life purpose, your real vocational aptitudes, your true path. It happens 3 times in life, at the age of 28 and 29 and a half, 56 and 58, and 84 and 86. Those are the times when you get to choose again. So, yeah, during my Saturn return, the first one, everything fell apart, and I got the message to be a teacher, and that was weird. My dad, bless him, he was like, the boy can choose anything he wants to do in the world, and he chooses to be a teacher. He was so disappointed. Oh. But for me, it was really important because I had crippling social anxiety, and I suffered as a child a lot. I did. Not because of my parents, but I grew up in this fundamentalist Christian boarding school, and I suffered. And by being a teacher, it cured my social anxiety, because when you're in front of a room of 30 kids, you realize it's not about you. They don't give two hoots. Like, if you want to be noticed, you've got to make yourself noticed. So that cured the social anxiety almost instantly. And also seeing the children grow up and being in the school environment kind of allowed me to see my own childhood in a different way, and from an adult's perspective, and to kind of heal it in a way. And that's what led me to doing this, which is what I love. And maybe this is what I get to do for the rest of my life. Who knows? Or maybe it's going to change. We never know. And the point is that nothing is forever, and we're meant to change. That's the one thing that you can rely on this planet, that everything changes. The only thing that is static and never ever changes is something that's dead, okay? Because everything else ages and changes and shifts and morphs into something else. And you have an opportunity here for the next 6 months, because it's an eclipse, remember. So don't think that this has to immediately happen overnight on the 16th of July, and that these feelings have to come in at, 10:38, and if it's 10:39, then you've missed your chance. No, it's over the next 6 months. Listen to your feelings, and if they guide you to do something else, then honor that and see how you can shift and transition from the existing job to the next job. Because a lot of us aren't that lucky, in the sense of, oh yeah, I've got loads of money, I can just stop working for 3 months and choose something else. No, a lot of us live month to month, and we have to work to survive and pay our rent, right? So being in a job that you dislike and changing to another job can be really hard, because you can't just quit. You have to transition and ease your way from one thing to the other. But like I said, Ceres is involved here. We've got Saturn and Pluto. They're very serious outer planets. This is a change that's meant to happen, that's divinely ordained. And if you listen to the feelings that come up through Neptune kind of just washing these ideas into you, then you're really going to be able to transition into work that is fulfilling and that you're proud of, and that gives you financial independence, and that gives you a foundation on which you can build your life. So that's what I get during this full moon in Capricorn partial lunar eclipse. I hope that gives you a good idea of what you'll be working with. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. In my personal readings, I use astrology, tarot, and numerology. To draw up your astrology chart, like the chart you see next to me, your natal chart looks like that, except the planets are in different positions, and I can read that chart like a blueprint of who you are. It's a blueprint of your soul. It shows me what you're meant to be doing for work. So if you really struggle with listening to your feelings, or getting, quietening your mind so that you can actually receive some messages, or if you have no idea what your life purpose is and you need some help with that, or if you really actually have any working talents, you will. I believe that everyone is given a talent which they can use to be completely independent and free on planet Earth. So if you're interested in finding out about that, I can look at that in your chart. And if you don't have the time of birth, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth to draw up that chart. If you don't have the time of birth, then order a chart rectification with me. It's a process where you give me 10 or more life events, the more personal the better, and then I can work out your time of birth, looking at these things that have happened to you and what the chart would look like considering those facts, and then I can work out your exact time of birth, and then I can draw up your chart and read it the way I can read any other chart and answer your questions. And that also extends into love life and travel and moving and astrocartography, where the best place is for you to live. Finances, what's destined for you in your financial life and your personal development and communication and marriage and relationships with family and siblings, and whether you're going to be famous or not, or whether you're meant to be in research rather than in teaching. You know, whatever your question is, am I compatible with Bobby or not? I can take his charts and your chart and put them together, known as a composite chart, and see if you're compatible or not. So any question you've got, I can answer via personal reading. So get in touch with me via the website, gregoryscott.com, and order your rectification or your chart reading there. Have a lovely time during this eclipse. It's really going to be a very private, personal, lovely moment where you get to choose again. And say thank you ahead of time, because if you're saying thank you ahead of time, you're beating the universe to the punch, kind of thing, or you're beating the ego, you're killing the ego, because if you say thanks, you're acting as if you've already got the answer, and then the ego can't even pipe up and block you. So just on this day, wake up and say thank you for giving me the guidance that I need when it comes to work, that allows me to let go of working in a way that's not smart but really hard and difficult, and allowing a way in, an idea in, a feeling in, that's going to allow me to work in a way that's easy and fun and joyous. Now, I've also done the monthly horoscopes for each sign of the zodiac, so Virgo and Libra and Scorpio and Sagittarius. Watch the one for your sun sign first, then the one for your rising, and if you need even more info, then the one for your moon sign, but usually the sun and the rising is more than enough info. That will tell you in what house of the chart this eclipse takes place in. So if it happens in your 10th house of career, then it's especially significant for you to let go of an existing career and to replace it with something else. If it happens in your 7th house, it will include things where you work on relationships that are inappropriate, and to be more discerning when it comes to relationships, and to work on the relationships that are actually meaningful and useful and good for you, instead of relationships that do nothing for you and just bring more negativity into your life. So like, I need to get these people to like me, you know? As soon as you think that, forget it. Getting people to like you or working people to like you it doesn't work. People either like you or they don't. So have a wonderful time. Have a great time during this eclipse. I look forward to speaking to you soon. If you like this video and my videos in general, then please hit the subscribe button and share this video online. I'd be ever so grateful. And I'll speak to you soon.